clip that and send that to
Granite
me.
Armadillo.
Please send that to
I think
me.
I can clip. How do you clip? How do you clip?
I don't know how to clip.
Hit the clip button.
Oh, right here. Clip. Boom. Got it.
Thank you.
I hope.
Oh wait, there's an actual clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
Let me. Are you guys ready? No, I'm not ready. If you want to go ahead and hit record, I'm good to go.
I like those technical terms.
I do too.
Oh, Thaddeus Maximus 4.
You
Said
heard it.
Hello, Thad.
That's amazing. I've.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Damn.
Craig. Craig's here.
Craig's here. Here we go. You can't laugh off screen.
Of course you can. You got to be professional.
What's up, popsicles? Was it good here with another episode of Was It Good? I'm Ravi, and I'm joined by my two brothers, Christian and Arjuna. For the second week in a row, we have our crackpot producer, Mr. Michael. Of course, we are discussing WandaVision, so if you haven't seen the latest episode, you're probably in the wrong space because will not be holding back on any of the spoilers. So let's strap in, grab some popcorn, and kick ass.
Spoilers.
Wow.
Got some spoilers.
I
You
like-
rushed through that one a little bit.
I did. I didn't
It's fine.
pace.
It's
I didn't
fine. It's
pace
fine.
myself.
Yeah,
No.
It's okay. It's okay.
I like the reference to kick ass.
Yeah. Let's start off right off the bat.
Is this the reference to the kick ass
course.
that was referenced in the episode
Absolutely.
to
100%.
to the movie that they're
Yeah.
both in?
This is referenceception, where we are referencing the reference, which is referencing.
I bet in Kick-Ass 3, they're watching WandaVision.
And for those listening that aren't aware of the reference, we're talking about the two actors now that have both played the same character, Quicksilver or Pietro. Both of the actors appear in the movie Kick-Ass as
Yes.
friends.
as
nonetheless.
best friends, I think.
What is a best friend?
Yeah, a friend that you tell more secrets than a not best friend, I think.
Clearly, no one here has had a best friend.
Yeah. I'm like, I look at
What's your
Arjuna.
best friend?
I muse like Arjuna. Is that right? I don't know.
I don't know.
That is
be
a
friends.
very bizarre definition right there.
I think it's accurate.
It's a phrase.
It's like-
People that I know that I think are friends, but then they asked me to send them money.
Hey, Arjuna, I don't know. Granite Armadillo tunes in every week.
Granted, Armadillo's
So, obviously a friend.
So
of
is
What's
that
Good.
your best friend?
Ooh. Now you're on
We're
the
going to ask
spot.
you live
Is
right
Granite
here.
Armadillo your best friend?
And as I say live, because we are on twitch.tv/wasitgood, make sure you jump on every Monday, Friday when we record these podcasts live. But Arjuna, back to you. The question is he your best
Well,
friend?
according to our Twitch, you just mentioned our Twitch. Lag and Cheese says that he is my best friend, or maybe he is our collective best friend.
Or maybe he's talking about someone specifically.
Yes. Maybe he is straight Chewbacca's best friend.
I'm sorry, straight Chewbacca?
I mean,
The comment Thaddeus Maximus 4 said when you did your little roll right before we started recording this podcast, you sounded like straight Chewbacca, right? Like,
gotcha.
oh, straight Chewbacca, like kind of you sound like Chewbacca. But if you just take it out of context, it is straight Chewbacca. So
Anyway, we're, as per normal, off the rails here.
we haven't even.
So we're
we should
talking
rename the show Off the Rails.
WandaVision, episode 6.
Yes.
Another episode, this
the
time
books.
obviously taking place in the 90s. Great era. Nickelodeon.
We
Sugar.
just finished the second act, really, right? Like it's the second. If it's 9 episodes,
Correct.
finished episode 6, which is we're 2/3 of the way through. So the next 3 episodes will be like climax plus epilogue.
Yeah, and as we said at the beginning, there's tons of spoilers, and I think how this episode ends clearly shows that, where, Sword's entire base got turned into clowns.
Yeah, I mean that was great. That was the
They're a
fakest laugh
clown
I've ever
show.
heard.
And the circus had come to town.
Yes. Or the town came to the circus. Really, let's be honest. She
That would make more sense. Yes.
Yeah, she
Expanded
So
the town.
Wanda, we're jumping all over the place here, but Wanda,
Wanda.
by the way, and we're still confused about if what her limits of her powers are, because there seemingly are no limits, and if we believe her, she doesn't really know how she's doing what she's doing, right? And at the very end of the episode, we see her expand her borders exponentially, because it's still expanding at the end of the episode. I believe. I could be wrong on that.
It looks like it stops.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
Because Hayward and his goons are able to
They got away.
They got away. Which,
Okay.
honestly, I'm glad they got away, because there's obviously two ways to go about it, right? Get away, or they get inside the little
become clowns.
Hex and they become clowns. But by obviously them going out, being out, this chance, this rumor that has started and spreading like crazy with what Hayward is really up to becomes a more possibility, a bigger possibility, which is that he wants the Vision back because he is with Sword. He is working on Sentinels to help protect the Earth. Because remember when Monica and Hayward are walking through that facility, they're clearly building some big ass things.
Yeah.
Some people are theorizing, is it the spaceship that Nick Fury is on at the end of?
Well, that's probably a Skrull ship.
It's probably a Skrull ship, exactly. But it kind of feels like it makes logical sense that there would be another human protecting weapon.
Wait a second. Wait. Well, so what? The implications of that. So we got to finish the thought, right? So if he is building Sentinels, that means the X-Men sent Quicksilver in, their version of Quicksilver, to try and stop the plot, right? Like obviously that you don't just. If that is true, you don't just have X-Men Quicksilver show up for no reason. He's not just a red herring. He's not just, a rando, right?
Could be a
the
blue
X-Men are on this mission. This is happening. We've got this cross-dimensional thing happening, this event that's spanning different dimensions. They sent in Quicksilver, their version, from their dimension, to try and stop the Sentinel program. If that is true, right? That's the only thing that would make sense.
Well, there's a lot of X-Men.
That's not the only thing that makes sense. But that's the theory.
There's a ton of like obviously references, allusions, and hints as to other stuff going on, right? So like in the when they're walking through the facility and talking about what's being built, there's a throwaway line about the space program. A lot of people connected the space program to the Fantastic Four, right? Because the Fantastic Four go into space, they get their powers there, et cetera, et cetera.
Also, Ravi's theory that Monica Rambeau has been talking to Mr. Richards. What's his name?
John Krasinski.
Jim from The Office.
I'm sorry.
Jim and Jim reunite.
Real quick, if that does happen, so what we're referring to is John Krasinski has been long rumored that he's going to play Mr. Fantastic.
With Emily Blunt, his real wife, playing
Miss
Sue Richards.
Sue Richards.
Invisible Woman?
Yes.
And what would make it really funny is obviously John Krasinski played Jim from The Office. Randall Park had
played Jim from The
also played Jim from The Office in a cold open. If it does happen, I really hope there's it could be just 2 seconds where it's like, do I know you?
If they
just something, I don't know, something.
If that happens, if they can put in an over, like a really heavy kick-ass reference, they can absolutely do it. Jim sees Jim.
So here's the thing, right? I don't want to get too far into it. I know we want to go through our impressions and our chapter listings, but with the X-Men stuff, right?
Yes.
You have all these references. You have this mystery character that Monica's like, and my contact's going to be here in 1 hour, like really prepping you for the secret person. Who could it be, right?
Luke Skywalker.
But the other thing, the thing that really stuck out to me in terms of the X-Men allusions was actually something Darcy said when she's like, at a molecular level, like your genetics and everything, Monica, are changing. Like when you go in and you're out, you are changing. Sure. They have introduced in that a way to have literal mutants, right? You are mutating. Your biology and your genetics are changing. So it's almost like, is the consequence of Westview of what Wanda has created is everybody in this bubble will be a mutant, and then all of a sudden now you have mutants.
Or they have mutant DNA, so even if they're not mutants with powers, that kids could have
Correct.
the gene.
Yep.
And now you've created
and now she's
race.
opened it up,
That's
and maybe
cool.
she's going to open it up a little bit more, right?
That's cool.
To all,
or maybe like when it eventually disperses, it goes everywhere or whatever this thing is.
And where is the original Charles Xavier mansion? Does anyone remember?
Westview?
I'm pretty sure it's New Jersey, New York.
It's
correct?
New York, not New Jersey.
Right? But New Jersey and New York, as we know, are very close together.
Let's find out.
So if she boosts it open,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden Xavier comes into play.
So just to, I know we're going way into the future here with the show, but perhaps it's not the Sentinel program that's getting created, but the Sentinel program could be a consequence of what's happening right now.
I think there's going to be a lot of consequences from this show. Like at least they're setting it up, and I think Marvel always does a great job of this. Nothing's set in stone.
Yeah.
But they're teeing up a lot of things where you could go in a lot of different directions with what's happening.
Yeah.
Or they could do nothing.
Yeah. So the X Mansion, Westchester County, New York. Thank you, Michael, our crackpot producer.
Why are all producers crackpots?
Because they multitask. which is something that not everyone can do. I couldn't do it. Shh, don't tell them.
So to recap this episode, we have this fun little segment where we do our one-word impressions. It can be simply about the actual episode, our viewing experiences, the type of food we ate, any of that fun stuff.
You eat food during WandaVision? I hold my breath and just watch.
No,
Well, it is midnight, so that makes sense. Christian, you don't usually go first. Just kidding, you do. Arjuna, you get to go first this time.
I'm going to go with Malcolm.
I wonder why.
Because the episode, even though I don't think I ever watched a full episode of Malcolm in the Middle,
Same here.
it was still very recognizable of a style. And like now we're obviously getting into more television that was more recognizable to us and that we grew up around. So Malcolm was the style that they definitely emulated with just the way that the opening was shot to the kids talking to the camera. Very much encapsulated like that type of style. So Malcolm.
Lovely.
Nice. I like it.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Why not go with just like 90s? Because, I mean, there was a lot of
Is that yours?
90s in the
Is that
show.
yours?
That's not mine.
Oh.
I almost went Brian because Bryan Cranston.
That's true. Yeah.
You should have gone way further than that. You should have said Zordon. Because Power Rangers was a 90s show.
Yes.
Bryan Cranston played Zordon.
Yes.
And
Not
if-
in the 90s version.
No, correct.
He played a
Brian-
monster.
But the guy who played Zordon, Bryan Cranston, played a bunch of monsters, right?
Oh,
In that
Walter
90s
White?
show, so you could have gone a few different ways, actually.
Christian, what would you say your one-word impression is?
Westworld. So Westworld, I think, works on a few levels for me. Westview, Westworld, easy. But also, the further out you get from the center, past Ellis Street or near Ellis Street, which seems to be the boundary of the original Westview hexagon hub thing that Wanda has created, all of a sudden, the inhabitants become very robot-like. In fact, it's almost like she went freeze all motor functions, and they're just doing this. They're not doing anything. They're just standing still. So I got really hard Westworld.
Poor
Sorry,
choice
yeah,
of
yeah,
words. Poor choice of
Not
words.
just the words, the emphasis.
I got-
I got really hard.
Really strong
And a pause.
Westworld vibes. So you guys must have felt it too, right? I mean, it was
Honestly,
it's Westworld.
no, I think it's a really good comparison. Didn't think about it until you mentioned it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was just
But
like,
I think that's. But
I got
it's a
really,
good point.
yeah, really,
It's a really
and also
good
like,
point.
and the fact that Vision's the one walking through, who, by the way, is himself a cyborg, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
help but not think of Westworld. It's like we have a robot walking toward the edge here, seeing other humans slightly beyond or outside of Wanda's control, or they're not outside of her control, but they're at the limits of her control. So they're acting very robot-like, and he's the one to find that, to see that, and I was just like, oh, this is totally Westworld.
You know
Is
why
it-
I didn't
is
make
it-
that connection though?
Why?
Because the season 3 was so bad, I just erased it all. I erased all motor functions.
Real quick, because I've seen a lot of that where it's like those people are on the edge of her control.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that they're on the edge of her control. I think it's more because they're so far away. So from a distance, they just need to look like they're doing something as opposed to being fully interactive and doing X, Y, and Z.
Because she only really cares about Vision.
Correct. She wants to keep this illusion in check
Yeah.
for Vision and her kids, right? Because she told the kids, don't go past Ellis.
And the fact that she didn't know that Vision was on duty patrol,
right.
or
So it's
she
not
couldn't
like
plan for it.
It's not
Maybe
like she
and-
has like a full
Yeah.
radar of the entire like
That's fair.
area and what's
That's fair.
happening.
That makes
I
sense.
think it's one of those things of like if you look like if I'm walking down a street and I see a bunch of people,
Yeah.
right, like way down there, I'm not going to be able to tell if they're physically moving and whatever. As long as they're there, and they
It's
may
like-
just be repeating a process, and that's fine.
It's like if
but
you're playing Skyrim or GTA.
yeah, they're
If you, go,
NPCs.
if you go far enough away, and let's say like your game lags or something, and
Yeah.
Doesn't
certain
render.
environments don't render all the way, and you see all these blocks, kind of the same idea. I like
think
that.
I also think maybe that they're trying to show limits to her power, right?
Ooh.
That potentially, I think she has a line in episode 5 where she's like, "What do you think? I'm like controlling everyone. I'm making everyone like wash their clothes and
Yeah.
like go to work and everything." And it's like, yeah, I think she is like literally having to do that for each individual person. So the least that the less she can do for the ancillary people.
Yeah,
the
right.
better, because otherwise it's going to be too much probably. To
See,
tax on
I
the
don't know if that
individual.
makes sense because remember in this episode, because it's Halloween night, she doubled, quadrupled potentially the population around her with all the kids,
Right.
right? So if it's really that taxing for her, which I don't know if it is,
because again, Vision got out of her bubble, like because she.
but
was
that's
focused on so
she
many
let
different
him
things.
remember, because at the beginning of the episode, right, she was about to say, no, that's not how it's supposed to be, or whatever. But she stopped herself and was
She
like,
didn't know.
okay.
She didn't know that Vision was going to go past Ellis Street.
Right,
So
of course.
all Vision said was that he was going to go on patrol, and she's like, okay, fine. Then she talks to Herb later, and Herb's like, oh, no, that's not true. Now, all of a sudden, Vision's outside of her, I would assume, radius of control, because he just walked away. So, and it took her fake real son
Right.
to figure it out.
Fake.
I don't think, though, it's
Fakish son.
like Vision has free will to a degree, in the sense that
he clearly does, though.
Yeah,
right?
he clearly has some free will, and I think he's always had some free will. She's modified his memories, and she's modified
What
the
are the
environment
Avengers?
around her to like adjust how he plays out, right? It's kind of like D&D, right? As a DM, you are going to set up a certain path in order to force your character to do a certain thing.
Sure.
The character itself has some free will,
Yeah.
right? But you limit and you pull back and put down on control depending on where you want that character to go. She realized in episode 5 that she had put too much control and he was getting angry. So this episode, she let up on the control and he went and wandered off and almost died.
Into La La
And
Land.
Hayward was like, haha, I'm hard for that.
I have a different.
Hayward.
I have a different theory of why he doesn't remember he's an Avenger, but we can get to that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
My one word impression is going to be
Predictable.
Avengers.
Popsicle.
Well, it should be avenge.
And I'm using Avengers because two reasons. Number one, the interesting line of what is an Avenger,
Oh yeah,
which was hilarious.
So good.
What is an Avenger?
Only Paul Bettany can deliver the line quite like that.
I don't think he was
What is an
delivering it. I
Avenger?
think he went back. Paul Bettany went back into his own mind, and when they told him about the Avengers, he actually asked that question to the
What the
producer.
beep
He's
are
like,
the
"What
Avengers?"
is an Avenger?"
And then the other reason I use that word is because I was thinking everything that's happening with Wanda and the previous events that we've been shown with Sword, her breaking in, storming the castle, all that fun stuff, also kind of shows that the world is maybe more broken than what we've been led to believe, right? The world suffered this 5-year event.
That's a good point.
All these people disappeared.
Well,
People
3
came
years,
back. 5 years.
It was 5 years.
5 years between Infinity War and then Endgame.
Oh, I thought it was 3. My bad.
Yeah,
Even
5
the
years.
Marvel movies.
I'm sorry, you Sony/Marvel figuring out the timelines. That's what's going on.
Yeah, it's all confusing.
So
I'm a casual. Don't
there's
worry.
been a lot of there was even the argument between Hayward and Monica, like you just don't know the struggle and things that are happening. But the fact that this entire thing is happening, she's got all of these people hostage. It also feels like there is no Avengers. There's no one to really call, right? Iron Man is R.I.P. Captain America is old or gone or whatever. Falcon, Winter
We'll find out
Soldier.
what happened to them.
We're gonna figure that out eventually.
They had their own show.
They're hunting down.
But the big thing is,
people.
but the big thing though is like in this new world, in this Phase 4, whatever. There's no centralized group at an Avenger level, right? There's all these government agencies,
Right.
and a Nick Fury and a Spider-Man. Everyone's very independent.
Yeah.
There's no kind of cohesion, right?
Which makes sense.
Which is what you would get
After
when you
5
had the
years.
Avengers, right? Like
And then like a 5-year thing where half the people disappeared, and then also
Also, they came back,
You have
yeah.
to reintegrate everything, which is going to take time.
the world's a little fucked up.
And Thor's gone. The Guardians are gone, obviously.
You have still have Doctor Strange, probably in New York,
Whoa! But he is about to go into the madness of whatever.
which is directly related to this show.
So he's crazy. So we can just assume that he is insane,
Right, but my point though is again,
or scared.
there's no Avengers level. There's no Avengers there.
What about Hulk?
What about the agents?
What about Professor Hulk?
We don't know what they're doing, right?
What about
because like if there was an event,
Ant-Man?
Well, the Hulk is out of action. Remember, his arm is completely fried, so he probably has to retire as a full-time superhero.
But he's a
because
smart
he's
man.
basically armless.
But he's Professor Hulk. He has a.
But remember,
brain.
this is just weeks after, so even if they create something for him to go over his arm, it's probably not done yet. So he's out of commission.
And you're right. He's probably grieving over what's her face.
Black Widow.
Yeah,
Widow, yeah.
Yeah, you have War Machine. He's still around. He's still active. he wasn't snapped out of. He wasn't snapped out of existence.
Right.
You do have Doctor Strange. I'm just trying to think locally, like in that New Jersey, New York area, who would be around.
You have Spider-Man.
You have Spider-Man. But those are probably the only three who are
right,
closest.
But what I'm saying, though, is like...
No team.
There's no team. They're independent, right? They need to take care of the immediate heir, which is... Because of this 5-year... The whole world is chaotic right now. So
the X-Men.
it's like it's the perfect storm for like this type of event to happen and to occur.
Storm.
Right?
Also an X-Men.
There you go. I'm just throwing out X-Men names.
I see what you're doing here.
Now, we always have Arjuna wait up until midnight so that he can spend 3 to 4 hours afterwards going over and figuring out a DVD chapter listing. And then we have Krishna.
This is the second time in a row.
We're going to act like you've been doing it the whole time. Okay. And then Krishna does a DVD chapter listing reading in an accent that I pick. So you are going to read this as if you were Thor. And as guardian god. Go ahead.
I don't know if I can nail that.
And this is Arjuna's DVD chapter listing.
What does Thor
WandaVision episode 6 as read by Krishna.
Yes,
Thor voice.
I'm Thor now. That's not Thor.
Read it.
Wander in the middle. That's not Thor. This is going to be awful. Faithful wrestling costumes. Normies go rogue for friendship. Vislock Holmes. Who's Vislock Holmes?
So Vision. Shortened to Viz. Sherlock. Vislock.
Oh, okay. I was like, are you going with Psylocke for a second? I was like, wait, Vision and Psylocke. I'm like, what do you know about the X-Men and Psylocke? Psylocke? Oh. Killer yogurt dude.
Creepiest thing of that entire episode was that commercial.
Legion-esque. Remember Legion? Like
yes.
how weird that show was? That really was like, is this from Legion?
Actually, real quick, before we move on, did anyone else get the impression that was supposed to be like Wanda losing control? Because that's what I got from it.
I think this whole episode is a little bit about her losing control, right?
Yeah.
Like I think,
like even her commercials are going askew.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's not an effective commercial to sell a product. And the 90s were weird. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they were that weird where they were going for total irony when they were doing their commercials.
Krishna, there was a yogurt brand called, was it Damien?
Yogurt? Oh.
The D1.
Danimals,
right? They had a fucking polar bear on an island.
Yeah.
A tropical island. That would kill the polar bear.
That's what this ad version. That's what this ad was showing.
I don't know if
that's how fucked up the 90s were with their commercials, all right?
That's not polar bear on vacation. He didn't know
they can't go there.
He didn't the polar bear was going there temporarily. He didn't know
Sure.
his glaciers were melting.
Or she. You don't.
He or she were melting because of global warming.
We didn't know what
Now
global
he knows
warming
better.
was in the 90s.
I
Or at
know.
least I didn't.
Agreed.
Because I was 5.
Where was I?
You were on the After Killer Yogurt, dude.
Oh. Haha, brother or imposter. What's an Avenger? Curiosity killed the wrestler. Now serving ice cream. That was a terrible Thor impression. I can't.
You know what that sounded like?
Thor.
Do
I
you
cannot
guys remember
Thor.
the
Why would you do
voiceover
that to me?
they would do like for the stinger at the end of Dragon Ball Z, where the guy's like,
Oh, yeah.
what will happen to Piccolo?
Yeah.
He is
If you
going
had
to
picked
die."
that, it would be like Wonder. Wait, damn it! Maybe I can't do that either.
But that's what your impression of
Dragon Balls.
Don't worry, next-
Wander in the middle.
Next, for Attack on Titan on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Tell me now so I can get ready.
Yeah, so for that one, you're gonna do that as a poor English dub of an action Japanese character. It's like way too over the
Easy.
top.
I've been watching Kiriko's basketball.
Yeah,
Done.
exactly.
Done.
Exactly like that.
I got you.
There you go. Boom.
That's easy. I can just read it in my regular voice and it will suffice.
So Arjuna's DVD chapter listing as, I'm not gonna say as always. This one time, pretty good, pretty spot on.
They're
So
always
good job.
great.
No,
are
not that
the
one-
best part of our podcast.
Not when you had like 20 titles.
Yeah.
For
That was
50,
even
50
20
titles.
episode, it doesn't make any
great.
sense.
These are all great.
Anyway,
I don't know what you guys
let's talk about the one that I think you really nailed was the brother imposter. Obviously talking about
Brother or
Pietro,
imposter,
Quicksilver. There's a lot of information that is presented
Could
here.
go either way.
We could seriously go all over the place with this because, Christian has his hand raised. Go ahead.
Did no one else get the impression that he was reciting stuff and that it was like he was briefed on who Pietro is and he was like reciting. He's an X-Men being sent into this world to stop the Sentinel program. I love that theory, so I'm just going to go off of it now. Thank you.
I just want you to keep hammering that home.
I will. But to me, right, it felt like he was reciting. Like he knew this information, but it wasn't like. It was like an actor. Actually, maybe our producer can tune in or check in at some point here. But it felt like an actor, like just reciting information that they had learned in a briefing, or if they had read a script and like, this is my character.
He kind of hit like the greatest hits to kind of try and convince her that, hey, I am your brother.
Yeah, but
and
the other side of it is that he like pushed her. It was like, hey, nice touch with the kids. You know, it's like you haven't done that before. You know, like. To me, it felt like he was super in control of his emotions the whole time. And if it's really your brother coming back from the dead, I'm not sure that's what the emotion that you're giving off. You know, obviously it's two different actors, so it's going to be two different ways of playing it. So if it's Disney just doing the bare minimum, the surface level, recasting him, and it's like a joke. It's like they couldn't get the original actor.
Well, I think there's the meta humor, right? Like the meta humor of like you recast.
But the way the performance is,
for sure,
leads me to think that there's more to it than just recast.
I like the theory that there's obviously been the theory since the beginning that Mephisto is part of this, and the new theory, especially with the confrontation that Vision has with Agnes, that probably rules her out as being Mephisto. But Pietro as Mephisto could make a lot of sense.
Well, hold on. Do we actually believe, though, Agnes was true to like what was happening in terms of like she doesn't know, or is she playing a bit?
I mean,
to kind of stay kind of like incognito or whatever.
Or what about this?
Could be multiple Agneses.
Or what if she is the Sorcerer Supreme or whatever she's called?
Mephisto?
No. Because Agatha and Mephisto are married, right? Isn't that a thing?
It depends. Like,
it depends on
they're
the comic book
connected.
Well, anyway, even if she's like this powerful being, like powerful beings can fall under the spells of other powerful beings all the time. Especially if Mephisto, whoever this Mephisto is either lending aid or power to Wanda. It's like a 2-on-1 situation, right? So it could be that it is still a sorceress under the control of one or two really powerful beings. So even though what we saw there wasn't conclusive either way, in my opinion, is what I'm trying to say. It's morphin' time. Somebody say something. Please.
I think that you're wrong.
He sounded like a conscience.
And that
like a Jiminy Cricket character.
Aaron Taylor Johnson is coming.
Okay, see, that would be amazing, and here's why. Actually, I don't know why. Why would that be amazing? Go ahead. Is that X-Men versus Avengers? Because that is, by the way, a very popular.
It's a very good art.
A very, really good comic book line where the X-Men is versus the Avengers.
Sure. Isn't Scarlet Witch like?
I believe Wolverine is the one who goes back and forth between. Because Wolverine is on both the Avengers and the X-Men.
So are Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Oh, boom. Oh, God. We have 2/3 of the trifecta.
I don't know if those two ever joined the X-Men. I think they're on... Because
they're always Magneto's side.
Yeah, they're on whatever his Brotherhood of
Brotherhood of
Evil.
Would he be X-Men in that concept? I've never actually.
I honestly
read it,
haven't
so
read the arc.
I'm pulling it out of my.
So
butt.
I don't know either. I'm just making it all up.
Well, we're just telling Disney.
Magneto is going to appear in episode 7.
Why do you say that?
I'm just making stuff.
Fastbender or
well, somebody was pumping out.
Ooh.
Somebody was pumping out that same thing that Fastbender would show up in episode 8.
Is that Luke level? Yes.
Actually, you said he would show up in episode 6. That was your bold prediction.
Is it? Oh, nice. Yeah, Magneto would be referenced.
No, that's Krishna's
referenced.
season.
Sorry.
You're just stealing
your episode 6 bold prediction was Michael Fassbender shows up, which did not happen.
He did not happen.
Oh my God.
So here's the thing with Pietro too: is Pietro
just got a new follow.
Oh, nice. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Pietro obviously is playing the role in this sitcom of the, kid-like uncle just causing chaos and trouble.
Yep.
But he also presents a couple of, like, flashbacks.
Yep.
One of the flashbacks is when Wanda and Pietro were kids in Sokovia, and there's a bunch of bullets flying in the background and bombs going off, and they're going trick-or-treating, and they get a giant fish. She doesn't remember this at all. Yeah. Is it possible, because, again, with Pietro being that it's a different actor, the actor that is from the Fox X-Men as opposed to the Pietro that we see in Age of Ultron, is it possible that this is another Pietro altogether, in terms of from another multiverse, another universe, or is it true with what he says, where Pietro says to Wanda, "You're just, the trauma, you're suppressing it," which obviously would be another indication of like she's obviously very traumatized, and that's why all these terrible things are happening.
I think that's an outside influence, right? I think by this point it's clear that there's got to be some kind of outside influence working on Wanda. The fact that she tells him, "I don't know how I'm able to control all these people." The fact that there's like simple things that just seem to go beyond her. She's so powerful. She can do so much, and they're like little things that go under her notice, or she lets go, and those are interesting choices. It's like she herself is like at war with herself, like giving the people she loves control versus controlling everything, right? And it seems to be that battle is what's going to be what causes her to break.
Her good side versus her evil side.
Yeah, not good versus evil, but like control versus, be free or whatever.
Good versus evil.
Sure, you can go that way.
I think all of the above is true, right? I don't think you cast the X-Men version of Quicksilver unless you want audiences to relate him to that version of the character, right? Otherwise, what's the point? Just cast a new actor, right? But you're playing
third Quicksilver.
You're playing off of the idea. You're playing off of the idea that this Quicksilver is related to that Fox version somehow, right? So I think that's part of it.
The same hairstyle, the same hair color as what he's in X-Men. Like, even if you weren't going that route,
right?
The fact that he has like the platinum like silver hair, which is the X-Men version, whereas like
Aaron Taylor
it was like more blonde, right? Like the fact that they're going and they're trying to show you this is the X-Men version. This is the version that you saw in theaters when you watched.
If you were gonna do that, like if you were really trying to make it so that it seems like, hey, this is the Quicksilver from X-Men, then they should have done one of his classic slow down speed runs, right?
It's coming.
You think it's still coming?
Well,
you got to save that.
Well, we did see him use his powers. It's the same version of the powers we kind of saw, or at least related, like the color palette and the mechanics of it are related to what we saw in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
He also does reference, he actually says to Wanda, he's like, "I know my face looks different. It's weird. I don't know why." Like he says, there's a line where he specifically says that.
He was briefed.
So he's trying to, at the very least, convince Wanda, no, I am your brother from Age of Ultron. I am Aaron Taylor Johnson wearing different skin.
He's an agent.
So I think I think it's like there's all of this above type of stuff going on where it's like maybe he's just like a weird combination of all these elements.
He reminds me of, so DC Universe has a show called Doom Patrol, which is about like the very C-D listing like superheroes. They live in a mansion. They're all very kind of broken. Brendan Fraser stars in there. But one of the main villain of the first season is Mr. Nobody, and it's this interdimensional multiverse being that kind of just, he breaks the fourth wall a crap ton. And he's he's played by Alan Tudyk, right? And he does an amazing job of like breaking the fourth wall, realizing that they're in a TV show, that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if, like to Arjuna's point, if Pietro is Mephisto, right? Is he also kind of going to start playing this role of like fourth wall breaking it down, being like, oh yeah, I took on this form because I know there's a Fox version of Quicksilver, like being very kind of like, all hands on the, just really kind of out there in terms of presenting.
And it could work one level before that, right? So he doesn't even have to break the fourth wall, but he could break the fourth wall of the actual universe. Mm-hmm. Like, whereas like, I just know there's this other dimension where the mechanics of powers are different, and I'm pulling in that version, right?
Did you guys catch the big kick-ass reference?
Yep.
Yeah, they mentioned it, so they know what they know it.
That is interesting. I mean, they mentioned Kick-Ass. Kick-Ass is
A Fox
not
property?
it's not. I thought so. I
It's
always
the
thought.
actor who played the other Quicksilver played the lead in
Yep.
Kick-Ass.
Yeah. So that's fairly straightforward. What is Kick-Ass though? Is Kick-Ass a Marvel property? Is it? Because I took Kick-Ass the
Is it
Kick-Ass
a
reference as
DCU
like a fun
reference?
Distributed
nod.
by
I thought they were-
Lionsgate.
I thought they were just referencing the fact that he's not the actor who was in Kick-Ass.
Well, they're
Well,
both
he
in
is.
Kick-Ass.
He is
Evan
in
Peters
Kick-Ass.
is also
Oh,
in
they
Kick-Ass.
are
He
both.
plays
the
the
friend.
best friend
He's the
of,
best- he's like the best friend
of the
of
original.
Johnson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is the weird thing, right?
That's where their crossover
Yeah.
happens.
I looked at the Kick-Ass thing was interesting because it was pretty heavily like layered on. Okay, you could not miss it. Like they said it twice in a row, and Wanda had the very much like Kick-Ass, and then the slow zoom on her face. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, don't hide it or anything. To me that was like they're having fun with the two Quicksilver actors since they were both in Kick-Ass. They played best friends. The original Quicksilver is the one who is Kick-Ass. But it's true. Maybe that works on a different level. Maybe that's true. Like maybe that works on the level of a little bit of fourth wall breaking, and the fact if they are going to introduce X-Men, you got to have some fun with it, right? So that could be how they do it, or one way they do it.
I think it's just bizarreness that they're trying to introduce into the MCU universe because everything has been very much explainable, right? They've very much, or at least they've tried to explain it in their own
Pretty
way.
meticulous,
Right, very meticulously. Like
Yeah.
there have been specific lines and just like full movies that are dedicated to it. I mean, like the first, hour of Endgame is them explaining time travel, right? And just like the way that time travel works and like the rules and all that type of stuff. They're very, it's not subtle. But I think with WandaVision, it almost feels like they're just introducing some elements, and then they're going to see what sticks, and they're going to be like changes come out of it. Like
You don't think they have a plan? They have to have a plan.
I think they have a plan, but I
Yeah.
think it's a little bit more nebulous, and I think it's it's not as like
The details,
tightly
maybe?
wound as they've done in the past.
Interesting.
I don't think it's not detailed. I think it's very detailed. Like I think
Well,
I think how
it would
they've
be hard
mapped
to
stuff
keep it.
out.
It would be hard to have both, right? Have like certain details and then have it nebulous at the same time.
I mean, I think it's detailed in how they're presenting the information, but I think it's nebulous in terms of how they want to go about afterwards. In terms of like how do you want the consequences of this whole thing? I think is nebulous. But that's kind of been Marvel's MO. Like it's strict but nebulous.
All I can say is if that is the case, then Kevin Feige, right? Kevin Feige is a mad genius if that is the case. The fact, how hard that would be to do? To be like, we have these elements, this is the plan, but the plan can change and we're able to change it. Like, we creatively, that's the goal. That's the dream, in fact. You have a plan and you're able to change it and keep it cohesive and make sense and coherent. Like every creative wants to be able to do that, and it's less than 1% of 1% would be able to do it because our brains.
Well, when you have like
our brains like structure,
Yeah.
and they like to know what's coming next. Especially the creatives, like dealing with unknowns, doesn't work for a lot.
Is that why this show is somewhat frustrating? Because you have to wait a week.
Well, for you, yes.
Well, no, I think there's something to that, right? I think we mentioned this before, but Marvel Studios, they're just used to making movies where you have the whole thing at once, and I think they're still adapting to the week over week type of content. And I think the show has gotten better as we've gone into these more episodes. Like there's teases and there's hints that want to make you want you to come back essentially. Because I remember those first 3 episodes, it's like, okay, cool, stuff's happening. It's like pretty slow though, and we're like, oh, where are we going with this? And then these last 3 have really much, been very good week over week shows in terms of just it keeps you wanting more. It presents you new information, answers some of your questions. Has you have new questions.
Isn't that what you want in a show, though?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they've
Yeah.
been doing a good job.
It's almost like a perfect show. You want a show to start off slow.
Sure.
Because if you start off with a bang and then it ends disappointingly, ends on a
I wouldn't
a
say you
slow
want to
note
start
or-
off slow though, because you want to have people interested in your show, and I think Marvel has enough equity where people were willing to overlook that fast start. But if this
Or
had
slow
no
start,
equity,
right?
if this show and this franchise didn't have equity,
out of nowhere.
people would be like, okay, I don't get it, and I'm done. Like the first 3 episodes, like nothing's happening. They're just going through the decades. I'm out. You know what I'm saying?
Which is why, like, props to them for making the decision to have episode 1 and 2 come out the first week. Because if that was a 3-week stretch as opposed to a 2-week stretch, you would have lost, I think, a lot more. But they have some experience. Granted, it was obviously ABC television, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. suffered from this same problem where it was this big TV show that's supposed to connect to the movies. And
It didn't.
the first season, the first half of the first season was just kind of this character development of these characters. It felt very disconnected. And it wasn't until they had their crossover with Winter Soldier and you were like, oh my God, the show called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just got completely fucked because Hydra is S.H.I.E.L.D. and it just radically changed. And it was like, okay, this is cool. And then it just kind of got boring and I never looked back.
And then Ghost Rider.
Oh, and Ghost Riders. Yeah, I always forget. Like, Ghost Riders are
They
there.
had Inhumans and Ghost Rider and then space and time travel and
Wait, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yes. I'll let you that marinate.
I'm
in your
going to
brain
let
for
that
a bit.
marinate for a second
Yep.
because
A lot of stuff in there.
nobody
Wow,
knows
wow,
if
wow.
it's canon or not. In fact, the actors don't even know if it's canon.
you know it doesn't even matter because now that you've introduced the possibility of a multi-dimensions,
True.
who cares?
Well, I heard a rumor.
can just
So
wreck on
the
the whole
main
thing.
like mutant or main superhero from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a character named Quake. And supposedly her character is going to appear in one of these Disney Plus shows.
No.
I really hope it's not this one because that would be just annoying.
Yeah.
She's allegedly getting her own show too.
That's
Quake?
also annoying.
Yes.
I would not say Quake was that interesting of a
I
character.
think they're still figuring out that Inhumans property.
What's the difference between Inhumans and mutants?
Yes. So moving on, because that's
Thank you. That
I
answered my
don't
question so
understand it.
beautifully.
It's whatever.
What are Inhumans?
I mean, I think you depending on the type of fan in Marvel that you ask, they'll give you 2 different answers.
Of course.
One goes to like I believe the Skrulls influencing, they create
I
Inhumans,
remember that's what you guys told me.
and then there's also the Eternals, and they planted the
Well, we
mutant
have-
gene or something, like way back a millennia ago, and it
we have an
marinated.
Eternals movie coming out, don't we?
Yeah, and that'll do something.
And the scrolls are a thing now, so you can have both. You could have. What if one is mutants?
Real
and
quick,
one is
real quick, side note,
They have an Inhumans mutant
Side note.
war.
So a friend
That sounds cool.
sent me this hilarious post on IG.
You a friend?
Yes. Basically, it was,
Was it
like
women?
it was it was a picture. It was 2 pictures, right? Darth Vader lighting his lightsaber in Rogue One, and then below it is Leonardo DiCaprio from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where he's like, wow, Arjuna.
You
thanks.
activated it. It thought you were me.
Nice. And then the bottom picture is Leonardo DiCaprio from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's that meme where he's like yelling at the TV.
yeah.
So basically, the top picture
Yeah.
is like, Star Wars fans, right? Like Star Wars fans, hardcore nerds. And the bottom one's like, his lightsaber is red, right? Basically making the joke of like, oh, you're a fan, but you're like pointing out the obvious. I thought it was funny. The way that we're explaining the Eternals and Skrulls and everything.
It's not obvious.
Aliens.
Is it? I
Yes,
mean, it's
no,
all
it's
made
not.
up anyway, so who cares?
That's true, but everything is made up, so it doesn't matter.
One other thing, Arjuna, you actually pointed this out because you being who you are, just wait until midnight, blink if everything's okay at home, has said that the title descriptions are vague, etc. I'll let you bring this up.
So interestingly enough, like at midnight, and I thinking back now, I believe they did this for The Mandalorian as well. But when the episodes drop right at midnight, there's no explicit title. So this one's called like Spooktacular Halloween Special or something, right?
Nice.
Something along that line. But when it's dropped right at midnight, it's just called Episode 6. And then the description is very vague. It doesn't even mention Wanda and Vision. It's like 2 superpowered individuals know that something is wrong in their town, right? That's like the entire description. Right at midnight. But then when I woke up this morning and I checked it again, it had the full title and it had the actual description. And I think we theorized, before this show that probably the reason they do that is because internally, you obviously have all this stuff saved in the CMS that they have, but anybody within the company could probably access that, and you don't want to leak it. So they just probably put in some placeholders before the episode airs, and then a few hours later they actually update it. So things can't be teased and kind of spoiled.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I remember I was trying to start the episode at midnight, but the rumba in the on the ground level was ruining the experience, so I just went to bed instead. Yeah, but it was very much that. It was just like, oh, I didn't think, I didn't give it a second thought, but it was like two super it was the exact description that you gave, and yeah, thinking back on it, I wish I would have been like, oh, you know what? Why is it so big?
Sahara had a great theory that was disproven when it would change this morning, but she's like, oh, maybe because in the episode the bubble like expands. They're like now in the show, so they don't get like the title and the description outside of the show. So it's just like super generic and just like episode.
I love that idea better than what we got.
I thought that was really cool, but then they changed it. It was like, well, it's not that.
Yeah. Pretty cool though.
Can I share my theory now about?
Well, before we get there, I also want to talk about what I sent you guys as a picture earlier today.
Oh God.
So I saw this post on TikTok actually.
Major spoilers. If you don't want potentially the whole season ruined,
Oh yeah.
Go away now.
I have a different theory for
this is potentially season ruining. Sorry, Michael. You'll
WandaVision.
You'll find out now.
So there was a picture posted. Somebody went to www.google.com,
internet.com.
and then typed in WandaVision. And Google obviously does this amazing job of obviously just pulling a lot of information together, when you type in a key phrase or whatever. And when you type in WandaVision, there's a cast listing that Google pulls, similar to that of like IMDb, Wikipedia, etc. So when you select Google's cast listing for the season of WandaVision, and you're scrolling through, there's a particular individual known as James Spader, or better known as the voice of Ultron, who is listed as a cast member for the WandaVision series.
Now, here's who he actually could be playing.
Not
right?
shocking.
We talked about John Krasinski appearing with potentially Randall Park as the two Jims. What if he's appearing as Robert California from The Office?
It says under James Spader, it says
Could be a
voice
typo.
of Ultron.
Could be a typo. Maybe
Or they're
somebody
assuming.
manipulated it. Yeah.
Maybe they're making an ass out of you and me and assuming.
Potentially. I mean, the thing with the Google, from what I did a quick look, and you can kind of modify the Google.
Oh, you can.
Yeah,
Oh, so it's fake.
to a degree. Like if you put enough SEO stuff out there, you could
Right,
probably put one of us in there.
Well, IMDb and Wikipedia can both be
Can be
edited.
modified as well.
And I think a lot of that Google stuff pulls from those types of sites. So, you
But
can
what's
check.
nice though is it kind of does tie into the whole what is Hayward doing? Like
Yes.
he's clearly tracking Vision.
And
We know
also-
Vision is the vibranium. Thank you, Lerman. Is the vibranium new body, or we're supposed to be the vibranium body for Ultron?
Yeah.
And they were testing on it. Like he was clearly dismembered.
Yep.
Even though apparently his wishes was not to be made into a weapon.
So it's the
what did they do? Make him into a weapon.
So it's the theory of this then. They maybe have pulled out, maybe when they were working on Vision's body and mind, they pulled out the Ultron part of him, and now Ultron's going to be their weapon to try and stop this whole thing? Is that a theory?
Do you think that's the Luke level
No.
cameo that they've been talking
The
about?
Luke level cameo for this show would have to be.
It has to
It
be
is
Robert
not.
Downey Jr.
It is
It
not.
would have to be
that.
Robert Downey Jr. It would have to be Robert Downey Jr. or young Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth, because
or Ruffalo.
Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher are the OG three people, right? So to have a Luke level appearance, you have to look at like the three biggest
The
Avengers,
OGs of the MCU.
which I believe are probably Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, right?
Hawkeye.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Hawkeye.
Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury would probably
Yeah, Nick
be
Fury
that way.
would make sense.
Where he comes in and he's like, I want to start the Avengers 2 initiative.
So we got a comment here from our producer, a crackpot producer, Mr. Michael, who said Hawkeye. And we, as in me, Michael, and Ravi, and some other people, had the pleasure of watching Age of Ultron and Civil War. Scarlet Witch, Wanda. A big part of her arc in those two movies is her connection with a certain
Hawkeye.
character named Hawkeye.
Wait, I told you this the other day, and you screamed at me.
That was today, Ravi. That was this morning, literally. And I screamed
been a
at you
long day.
because I said, "Wait, That's a Chris Evans line.
been a long day.
It's been a long day. Remember from Civil War? Well, it's been a long day. Sorry, never mind. I thought you were making a reference to that, but you weren't. Hawkeye. Here's my contention with this, because Hawkeye does make a ton of sense for that character.
Yeah.
In fact,
Her brother died saving him.
exactly. Yes, thank you, Learman. Her brother died saving Hawkeye. Is Hawkeye a Luke level appearance?
I think you're taking this statement and like
I
you're
understand.
taking it too far.
I know,
You're
I know.
taking it way too far.
I like that he's
clearly
taking
am.
it too far.
You're
Because
like
here-
you were
here- I
dissecting. You were dissecting it
Can
to a
you make-
level that like it does not need to be dissected.
It's not
This
Luke level.
the-
It's not Luke level.
wait,
It's
Listen,
fucking
you
Hawkeye.
are going.
I don't give a
Your
shit about
expectations.
Hawkeye.
Your expectations are way too fucking high right now.
I don't care.
Way too fucking high.
don't
You need to bring
care.
them way the fuck down.
All right. So there's a few things here. We have to break this down. Does Elizabeth Olsen understand what she's implying when she says Luke level appearance? Now, if we are going to agree that she does not know what that really means, then yeah, Hawkeye can appear all day. And all
I'm
day
going
long.
to say
I will
that
say and Hawkeye appearing makes so much sense. It does.
I'm going to say she does understand that because I don't know
you.
if you guys are familiar, but when she was doing press for, I think, Age of Ultron or one of her first MCU movies, she actually talked in depth about like how her favorite arc with Wanda was the House of M, and she's like, "Oh yeah, they're never gonna do that though," and that's essentially
we're
that's
doing
what
it.
they're adapting. So people are like, "Wow, that's really cool that she was like truly believed it was never gonna happen, and it did happen."
Or
and
they
she
told her
showed
to say
passion.
that so she could misdirect.
I feel like she at least does enough research and knows enough of what's going on that she knows the implication of that type of line.
Nice.
And like I think it's like an inside joke almost of like the spoilers that the cast releases, but I almost feel like all of that shit is just another level of acting. Like they're like, yeah, Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo, like they leak stuff. It feels planted though. Like if you want to
By
talk about
Disney?
like it all feels like shadow marketing, honestly, of like trying to build
I
hype
love
and
it.
all that type of stuff.
I
And the
love it,
Pa-
but I hate it.
And the Paul Bettany, like, there's a guest actor, and then Elizabeth Olsen saying there's a Luke level cameo. Like it just feels planted. Like that's what it does. And I feel like Disney knows how to shadow market and manipulate the media into just continuing to build hype for your show.
I mean, they got
that
Krishna
doesn't need to.
easily, so.
Well, so here's the thing, right? I looked at Quicksilver's appearance as the Luke level appearance, and everyone was just like, "No, that can't be it."
No,
But
I think
to
it
me,
is.
It was the Luke level.
I think that's what they were referencing.
It has to be because to me, Luke appearing in Mando was so surprising, even though it shouldn't have been.
I called it
was.
just to say.
Quiet you.
We have the tape. Roll it.
Nope. He made it up. It's fabricated. Quicksilver appearing in that form was that level surprise. Actually,
Sure.
probably more so for me because I didn't see that coming at all.
Right, I think people
Not even
saw
once.
the Aaron Taylor version coming, but not the Evan Peters.
Yeah. That was truly like left field for me. I feel dumb for not thinking of it, but
No, you shouldn't, because I don't think most people.
right. The fact that most people didn't makes me feel better about myself. is
The
what I'm
only,
saying.
the people that kind of knew was because there were rumors that Evan Peters was spotted on.
Oh,
the
thank God
set.
I didn't see that.
know?
I hate it when that's ruined because then it's just ruined for you. Like something's been spoiled for you for a certain show, and
movie.
I want you to not tell me.
I will tell you. That
No,
right
don't
now.
tell
I'm
me.
going to say it on the pod
No.
right now.
No, you're lying.
This movie is called SpongeBob SquarePants 3, the movie,
Oh, thank
and
God
it
you're
will
lying.
feature the
Nobody cares
death
about
of
that.
Patrick Star. They're killing off Patrick.
That's dramatic. Actually, that
Who's
would be,
Patrick?
That would be terrible.
The pink star's fish friend best friend of SpongeBob.
He talks like this. He's like, "Hello, I'm Patrick Star."
Christian, your impressions are truly awful. Like, when you try
Thank you.
to impersonate someone,
Hey.
it is completely wrong.
Look at me.
Just 100%.
Thank you.
Like, it is hilarious how bad you are.
That was just
as
me.
impressions.
That I wasn't even going for it. What was that impression of? I don't know.
But
I don't
I-
know who I am anymore.
It's always too dark, because we are in the darkest timeline.
Yeah, actually, I would say that it's perfect, considering the timeline that we're in.
I didn't like the CGI in this episode. Just
Get
kidding.
out.
I'm just kidding.
Get out.
We're-
It was all practical effects.
Right,
It
Vision
was.
just
Mirrors and
body.
flashlights.
Let's recap our bold predictions here. As we know, my bold prediction was Michael Fassbender was going to show up. That didn't happen.
Boo.
Still time.
Christian said that Christian's season prediction will happen, which was Magneto will be referenced. So both, I guess, just your episode 6 prediction is now null and void.
Yep.
And then Arjuna's was Aaron Taylor Johnson will appear. That also
Technically is right
the
because they did show the flashback from Age of Ultron.
No.
So you can write my check. You can write my check to Arjuna Ramgopal,
Boo.
and I'll cash that. Bitch.
Boo.
cool. Write the check from you to yourself then.
Was it the actual shot from the movie, or did
It
you
was.
cast
It was a shot from the movie.
Oh, okay, I didn't notice.
It was.
I mean, it was literally him
So-
getting shot. And the line, by the way, that went with that was great because Evan Peters was just like, "Oh, and I got like shot by some schlub or I don't know." It was hilarious. It's like I got shot like a bum, like in the middle of a street. It's just like
And I'm here.
How could they get me like that? Like,
Do you
12
guys
years
have
later.
Do you guys have episode 7 predictions?
of course.
Let's hear your bold ones.
My episode 7 prediction, which I have thought long. And
I have one.
difficult
If you
to
Go ahead, Arjuna.
Go ahead,
So this is going to tie into my vision theory, right? We talked early at the top of the show about the loss of memory and if Wanda had potentially erased his memories. But I am more convinced now than ever that this isn't the same vision that we have come to know and love. Because there is a mind stone in his mind, and I think we talked about this last week.
there isn't, or there is.
There's potentially a mind stone. There is at least the illusion of a stone there.
That's true. There's
And
a
we
picture,
know
there's an image.
there is an image. And because of that, potentially, I do think they are playing with the idea that there is an infinity stone from a different universe.
Oh, okay.
And because of that,
Oh.
and well, I'll tie it in
the
more.
X-Men universe.
Well, I'm tying it in a little bit more because it is a different mind stone. Remember that Wanda's power also comes from the Mind Stone. So the reason her powers are elevated is because it is a different Mind Stone. So it's like she has the Mind Stone powers from this universe,
Wow.
and she now has a Mind Stone from a different universe. And those extra powers with this Mind Stone in Vision's body is what is creating.
Well, remember, I already
You've
told you.
outdone yourself.
Remember, I told you all last week after episode 5, the promo for episode 6 or the rest of the season. There's a shot of her where she's in front of a stone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So I think that definitely makes sense.
And so my bold prediction to go
Oh
with my
God, you
theory,
just gave backstory to your prediction.
my
Here we
bold
go,
prediction
here we
to
go,
go
here we
with
go.
the theory is the idea of the alternate universe Mind Stone will be explored in episode 7.
Oh, give us more specifics than that. That's the. little
How about
thing.
just
fair.
there will be a Mind Stone or the Mind Stone from another universe is
revealed.
Fine, you know, I'm
revealed.
going to go even more bold.
There we go.
Thanos will appear in next week's episode.
Wow. Okay. You went 0 to 120 quickly, but
I'll
But Thanos
Fire.
appearing doesn't really.
Thanos will appear with the Infinity Gauntlet and try to take Vision's Mind Stone and will kill him again.
and then Ultron will show up and defend everyone.
Yes.
We already have James Spader confirmed. We
Can
have,
I, can I make 2 bold predictions, like a one, like an or?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, you'll be
John
wrong.
Krasinski.
say both, but you got to pick one.
I want either John Krasinski is going to appear or Hawkeye is going to appear.
But pick one.
You,
gotta
have
pick
to
one.
say hot guy.
I'm going to do Hawkeye.
You're gonna do Hawkeye appearing.
Hawkeye appears next episode.
Hawkeye.
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 Hot
Hawkeye.
guy.
Hot guy. Well, okay, Ravi. Well, keep your opinions to yourself.
But and your other one was John Krasinski will appear, not Mr. Fantastic specifically.
Yes, John Krasinski, the person, will show up in the MCU as himself.
All right, if they do
would
that,
actually be hilarious.
If they do that,
You give me
actually, no,
$100.
You can't say anything. Like, what if the bubble expands and then John Krasinski is a regular person, and then the bubble causes his stretchy powers?
They like play with expectations, right? Because
Yeah.
John Krasinski's been so
So
heavily
you would be
rumored
right.
to be Mr. Richards.
Yeah.
And so they have him appear and like, oh, it's
like a
Reed Richards.
misdirection.
And then it's just John Krasinski.
That would be so funny. It would be Brad Pitt level appearing when he appeared in Deadpool 2. Deadpool
You were just terrible with the words today.
2.
Do you have a bold prediction?
Yes, my bold prediction is thusly.
Mm-hmm.
In episode 7, I don't have
We
one.
had dead air. Got it.
don't
So
know.
there's
Chris's
going
bold
to be
prediction
dead
is there
air.
are no predictions.
I honestly, the show has thrown me for a loop every
Just
episode.
go, Christian, just go crazy. Just be like, Deadpool's gonna show up and break the 5th wall.
No, that's silly.
What's the 5th wall?
that Quicksilver is an agent, an X-Men agent, and he's going to be failing in his mission to try and contain Wanda from destroying the two universes. His mission is to stop the Sentinel program that what's-his-face is Hayward is creating. He's going to need backup. So someone, Psylocke, because you put Bizlocke, I'm now stuck on the Psylocke train. And it will be Olivia Munn appearing in the next episode to save Quicksilver's ass.
And Aaron Rodgers is by her side.
Well, no, he's getting married.
Yes. Aaron Rodgers will play just a regular person in Westview. He'll be one of the people on the edge, and he has a football and he's just doing this,
Almost throwing it.
like a Westworld freeze all motor functions robot.
Oh boy.
Aaron Rodgers. You heard it here first. What a prediction. We did that together. That was a team prediction, everyone.
So let's recap
Well
real
done.
quick. Quicksilver is a secret agent from an alternative universe, is failing,
No, he's an X-Men.
and needs to help to stop Hayward's Sentinel program. Psylocke, Olivia Munn, will appear with Aaron Rodgers, just a regular fucking bum.
Nailed it.
Beautiful.
Oh, man, dude. If that happens, what will you give me? I want money.
I'll give you that $100 that I think I owe you for that thing.
You
We'll
owe
clip
me a
it.
spray tan bag.
We'll clip your reaction to getting it right. We'll cut it with you making the prediction and getting it right.
Yeah.
And then we'll put it on Twitter. That'll be your reward.
Fair enough. It won't do anything, but great. I appreciate that. I like this prediction. You know why? Because it won't happen.
Arjuna. It's that time.
Oh.
It's that time. Krishna, was WandaVision episode 6 something spooktacular? Good.
It was really good. And you know what's mind-blowing? We didn't even get to the two fucking kids, which is great because I hate
Oh,
kids.
yeah, we did.
Should we mention them real quick?
No. We don't need to mention them. One has super speed and one is kind of weird like Wanda. So
Psychic powers.
we don't have to say much
And they
more
can
than that.
age up.
And they suck. Let's be honest, okay? Kids suck.
They did show some sense, like kind of like Vision though. They did show that they're sentient a little bit
I think they are.
in terms of
Yeah.
they break. They do stuff outside of Wanda's control.
Yeah.
And maybe she's intentionally doing that
Letting
as well
them have that
because she
control.
wants to have her family, which is why she's not. Because she references in episode 5 that she's like, I can control you, Vision. Like I can control you like the rest of these people, right? But she doesn't want to because she wants this family life. She wants this bubble.
I'm gonna take the episode question. I'm gonna add a second question, and then Ravi, I want you to ask the second question, but include our producer as well. So let's see how this goes. Ravi, question number 1: was episode 6 of WandaVision good? Question number 2: are Wanda and Vision's two kids real, in the sense that they have autonomy and they will exist outside of this bubble?
Yes and yes.
Amazing. Why?
We need to wrap this podcast. We've been going for like an hour.
All right. Well, then. Oh, well, I mean that's a lot of time. Oh, recording power. You're right. Okay. Well, you answered yes and yes.
The reason I say yes is because I think they are formed or created. Like I buy into the Mephisto theory, the demon, the devil, whatever. This interdimensional being is able to create matter from other parts or whatever. I don't think they're created the normal way that a human being is created. They're created some other different way, but I believe they exist
that was
beyond.
that scene in episode 2
Because they have powers outside of Wanda, speed, the psychic connection between Vision, all that fun stuff, and they're acting. We've already seen that Wanda's powers don't work on them. When she tried putting them to sleep with her powers, it just did not happen.
Oh, good point.
Same with the
Good
stalk.
point.
She uses her magic, her power, it just doesn't do anything. So I think they are independent of her control in this bubble.
I like that. I actually totally forgot about that first scene when they were babies.
And you need
Go to sleep.
You need X-Men recruits.
Arjuna, was episode 6 of WandaVision good? And do you think the children are real?
Episode 6 was good. The children in the show, yes, are real, but the children, just like the question in general, are children real? I'm gonna say no. I don't think children are real.
Oh, wow. That's the implications of that are far-reaching for your life.
Big time,
good
very, very kind of messed up there.
Good luck, everyone.
That's going to do it for us here on Was It Good? I'm going to read our closing now.
Read it.
We have a closing?
Well, just our call outs here, which is, you can obviously find us on Twitter at Was It Good. You can find us on Instagram at Was It Good BTM, on Twitch, twitch.tv/Was It Good. We do these podcasts live every Monday and Friday. Our upcoming podcast is going to be on Attack on Titan. I think that's going to be it. Attack on Titan.
Poor Michael. Our producer cannot catch up, and so for every episode of Attack on Titan is ruined for him.
Challenge
And
accepted.
we also have a website, wasitgood.info. Make sure you check it out. A newsletter is coming soon.
It's my favorite bit.
It's gonna be like 10 years later. There's still no newsletter.
Newsletter incoming soon.
Yeah.
Remember, time is a human construct. Therefore,
right.
soon can literally mean past, present, or future.
You know, and what
Soon is relative.
yes.
Goodbye.
That's very relative. Goodbye. Nice.
I got to take care of work.
Oh, okay.
We'll wrap it up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up then.
All right, let's do the real podcast now that he's out.
Those kids are Mephisto. Darcy is Ultron, and he wants his perfect body, and that's why he's going after Vision.
Whoa. How did Ultron get Darcy's body? Let's start there.
Or because he in his
He's the
time in
creator.
space after Sokovia,
Ooh, okay.
he one of his things got away, and that Darcy character is
She is really plugged into the internet.
wait. Darcy is the that's right. Darcy is the hacker. Who's the bad guy?
Oh, Hayward.
Yeah, he's Ultron.
Oh, Hayward's Ultron.
Although
Interesting.
Darcy could make sense because
She's on the internet a lot.
on the internet
yeah,
a lot.
and then
So-
and Ultron's thing was like
and we
being on
didn't
the
see
net.
what happened to her when she went into the thing. So it could be that she's been orchestrating
true.
this from behind, or the kids. Maybe the kids are.
You know what's interesting?
I don't think so though.
We talked about like there's a lack of
like it.
organized
like it.
superheroes in the current MCU world, but each of our like supporting characters on the outside of Westview are almost like supporting stand-ins for those characters.
Absolutely.
Monica being Captain Marvel, Jimmy Woo being Ant-Man, and Darcy being Thor.
Yeah.
So it almost, and I feel like this show is like intentionally playing with characters and what to expect from them, and like that's where people would recognize these characters from because those are the properties they've existed in. So
well, also Rambo has powers.
yeah, we know her.
Photon?
We know she's going to become Photon now because her DNA is.
Who's
all,
Photon?
As
It's
long
all
as nobody else
screwy.
goes back and forth. Because if other people do, then they get powers too.
Yeah, that's why I still think like once the whole this incident's over, this is how you're going to get.
Oh, duh. It's going to be Captain Marvel.
What, to show up?
Yeah, because Monica's DNA is going to be breaking down some bullshit, and then Captain Marvel's going to magically appear, zap her, and fix it, and then she gets the photon power.
I think that's just it's too easy. It's almost like you're setting up this like ultra powerful superhero for the whole show, and then the only way to beat her is bring in another
cheat
super
code.
ultra. It's like the cheat code to it. It's too easy.
Also,
it's too easy.
they've really established in the MCU that like Captain Marvel's not easy to reach.
Yeah, she's off doing her.
And
She's
it,
aloof.
and it doesn't
She's
seem like
aloof.
they haven't introduced any type of mechanism that Monica is able to contact Captain Marvel. In fact, they've introduced seeds that
Those two don't like each other?
that she has issues with her, right? Because she was a little child. We assume she was a little child the last time she saw her. And then her mom died and she hasn't seen her since, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think it's Captain Marvel, but maybe
be.
Thor cameo.
It's going to be
not
Hawkeye,
Thor.
and Chris is going to punch the TV.
It's going to be
I
hot.
won't punch it. I just be like, it's
Yeah.
not Luke level. Get out of my face with that.
He looks he's the
Again,
only
you're
one that
taking-
looks like Luke.
you're
How could that
taking-
not be him.
Christian,
Sebastian Stan
you're
looks
taking
like
this
Luke.
Luke
True.
thing. You're taking
Well,
it
that's
way
the
too
clue.
way too high, way too crazy.
Whoa. What if Luke level cameo was literal and it's Sebastian Stan's Winter Soldier that
What if
appears?
it's literal and it's
Yeah.
actually Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker because they're doing TV shows and they
Holy
they
shit.
reference they do like 2020.
Marvel Star Wars crossover.
They do 2020. They get to 2020 and they do Mandalorian.
I would love it. I mean, I wouldn't,
Real,
I wouldn't hate it. is what I
real
mean.
quick, what are we doing for social clips here? You pull it all. Luke level.
I lifted to the
cameo.
Luke level expectations where you guys were yelling at each other,
Yeah, that was fun.
and then the weird noises we made during the bold predictions when we were like 6 seconds. It's weird. Weird is good. But is there any other?
Well,
comment that-
Christian's
Chris's
bold
dance.
prediction, I would say, is a video.
Christian's bold prediction.
Like, what I would do with it, if you're able to, is do like a
team
slow
level.
zoom in on him, because he gets more and more intense with it.
Mhm.
And then, like, as you and I jump in with, like, oh, like, you're like, oh, Psylocke, then just do a hard cut to you and then continue back onto
And then
his
someone
zoom in.
said Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and threw in the Aaron
You-
Rodgers.
You said Aaron
Because
Rodgers.
then we
so
can,
that's
like,
funny.
we'll
'Cause
tag him.
as a
We'll see what
team.
happens.
As a team.
Cool.
else?
I think we're good.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Oh, by the way, if anyone's still watching on the live streams, we are going to be doing a giveaway at the very, very end of this season.
We are?
Yeah, we have an Iron Man Lego set that we're going to give away.
Can I win it?
R.I.P.
Why not?
Do you want it?
Do you want people
Yeah.
to be depressed? Why would you give that away? People don't just look at it and be like, "I'm
Oh,
sad
he's
'cause
dead? Yeah, I want to fill you with depression. It's my
that's
goal in
Guys,
life.
you didn't see they just announced Iron Man 4?
They did not.
Return of Iron.
I think you're confusing it with the War Machine spinoff.
I am Iron Man.
Anyway, goodbye. Thank you for watching and enjoy your weekend. See you on Monday.